This is Jamie Drummond for Good Food Revolution. Today I am joined by someone I've wished to speak with for quite some time, Mr. Pepe Raventós, who is joining us all the way from Catalonia, Spain. How are you today, sir?
I am doing great. How are you?
I am good, thank you very much. Now, the 2020, the year that went before us, is a vintage that I'm sure you will never forget. Tell us a little bit about the 2020 vintage.
The 2020 vintage has been the vintage that taught us how fortunate we are to live in the Mediterranean weather, because it rained twice as much as an average year. So we had a lot of pressure of humidity in the vines that provoke a big development of mildew, one of the three most important fungi that attack the vineyard. And we lost 60% of the crop in Ravento Blanc and 40% of the crop in the Cansumoy state, that it's a little bit high up in the mountains, more ventilated, a little poor soil, so it was not so damaged. But 60 and 40, it's a big loss, right?
That's huge. Now, you also had the impact of the pandemic and lockdown. How did that affect your harvest?
Well, it's true that besides the climate difficulties, we were also so nervous with all this COVID situation that probably we didn't pay enough attention into the green harvest, and that added the difficulty to the vintage. No. However, I think what we harvest, it was at reasonable quality levels. It was at a good balance. The musts smelled well. The pH was okay, and so far the wines, now already fermented before we blend, they show a good balance. So it's going to be very short vintage, but I think we're going to make okay wines.
Superb. Now, I'm always assuming that everybody who is watching this knows exactly who you are. But for those people unfamiliar with Pepe Raventós and his family, would you mind giving us a potted history of what you do down in Catalonia?
Well, I am happy and glad to represent one of the most historical wine families in the world. Definitely the oldest in Spain. My wife Susana and myself represent the 21st generation farming in the same state. That state is located 40 miles west of Barcelona in the northeast of Spain, and it's famous because in 1870 my great grandfather made the first Spanish champagne. He brought the metal champenoise to Spain with a grape and developed it with a grape Xarel·lo. So he was the pioneer for what later has become the cava industry. Now I am considered the rebel in the area because I gave cava how do you say, a little push away in the back, and we abandoned the denomination in 2012. Although my grandfather was the first president, and my great-great-grandfather invented Xarel·lo Parellada Macabeo blend, right? But I think that cava has sadly become too much of a supermarket cheap product, inexpensive product, which is great for some people and some moments, or a lot of people in moments, and it's a great value wine. But I was trained in France. I made wines with people like Didier Daguenot, who were idealists, and I have become an idealist. So I believe a lot in our terroir. There is a potential. The combination of our Camelician soils with this Mediterranean weather enables us to make the most mineral sparkling wines in the planet. So we're working to create this new appellation, Conca da Noia, that is really based on that, on that dream to show to the world a mineral alternative to the best champagnes.
Now, I've always wanted to ask you this question, Pepe. How did your family feel about you taking this step away from the cava designation?
I am so fortunate. I've been very fortunate because I have the most generous father in the world. And, since I joined him in 1999, and if now I don't know much of anything, imagine then, I was a total ignorant. And he's always been very favorable on letting me make as many mistakes as possible, what gave me a lot of strength, energy, and a feeling for believing. And this is something that I recommend. And now this is not about a wine talk; it's about parenting talk. To let your children make as many mistakes as they can.
And he's very happy with your decisions thus far, I guess.
Definitely, definitely. It's been a wonderful dream, of course, with a lot of inconvenience, like losing big markets like monopolies that if you are sparkling wine from Spain and you're not Cava, they don't want you there. Now they've understood and they opened their borders, but not in 2012. But yeah, you know, I think we jumped into this dirt way. That's where we're comfortable. You know, we were riding on a highway. We don't like the asphalt. We jumped into the dirt road, and we're so happy. We're so connected with the nature. We're you know, so in love with what we do, and we feel this energy with thanks with people like you, Jamie, that are you know, paying attention to what we do, and with so many great wineries in the world.
Now you're speaking about taking the road less traveled. You've been doing some other interesting pioneering things in Catalonia with some interesting still wines as well, have you not?
Well, you know, when we came back from New York, of course, we wanted to recuperate that tradition that we lost in the 90s when we were total bankruptcy and we had to sell the family house. So we refurbished a little cabin where I spend the harvests, and now I am living here with the family. And in the garage, we said, you know what, the cars are going to be better outside. So I started to ferment Xarel·lo in natural from a vineyard called Noguer. It's a beautiful hill slope facing to the east, clay on top of the limestone, 60-plus-year-old bush wines, no? Bush vines. And you know, we ferment that in amphoras in the garage. You know, it's neutral, it's clean. You know, so the yeast that come from the vineyard are fermenting. At the time, you know, I had spent quite a few time with Cornelissen in Sicily and with Auvernois, with Pierre in Poupillin, and you know, I love so much their attitude to wine and how those wines tasted. And you know what, this Xarel·lo came at a total different level of energy. Total different level of energy. It was strong and complex and vivid and mouth filling, and you know, I still have this one barrel that I keep Pouilly since 2014, and it's showing so beautiful. You know, to see how it evolves. So that was like really mind blowing. And since then, you know, we started to investigate recuperating Catalan lost grapes in natural winemaking. And with this, I say this property found us. It was this, you know, North Penedès, where Ravento is famous for sparkling, but in the Baix Penedès is a historical millenary area known for the still wines since the Romans, 3,000 years ago. And you know, this property in high altitude, 2,000 feet altitude above sea level in Baix Penedès, was abandoned, being about to be sold for a chicken farm, intensive chicken farm. And you know, we told the guy, you know, we want to recuperate. We want to do what we're doing in Raventós. We want to recuperate the old farm that was here before us. That's how we understand winemaking, much more than organic and biodynamic. I think in North America, you call it regenerative agriculture, not to see the system as one unit and, you know, promote biodiversity, recuperate ancestral agricultures and such. So yeah, that was Can Sumoy, and since 2016, we've been working in that direction and making these beautiful natural wines.
Superb. Now, excuse my ignorance here, but where are you right now in Catalonia with regards to lockdown and the like?
The situation is kind of messy still. For example, we have maybe 5% of the population with the vaccine.
Right.
Restaurants are only open at lunchtime. And traveling is super limited, so it's still complicated. We think that maybe by May, June, the situation is going to change.
Now, I hope you don't mind me asking this, but how has the pandemic affected your sales? Because I would imagine that most of your sales go to restaurants or to export.
Yeah. Well, that was really the scary part, because in 1 week, all our friends, partners, customers, restaurants from Tokyo to Lima, passing to Toronto closed in 1 week, and you know, it was really, really scary. I must say that with the flexibility of one market or another, we were very active on the social net. We try to promote to the stores so they can bring the wines to the families, etc. We did okay. We lost about 20-25% of our business, which is very hard, but we survived, and we expect a better 2021.
Good. Now, I always like to leave all of these interviews on a high note. What would you say the most valuable, the best thing was that you learned throughout the experience of March 2020 to where we are today?
As I said before, I'll say one thing from the vineyard and one from a business perspective.
Sure.
Right? From the vineyard, it's been an extremely inspiring year. I see a vine is like an olive tree and an almond tree. They like to vegetate in poor soils with limited rainfall, good dryness conditions, with possible ventilation, good winds in the ripening, in the harvesting, pre-harvesting period. And this is very important because a vine has belonged to the Mediterranean climate since 6,000 years ago.
No.
And we need to gain confidence on that, especially towards a minimal intervention viticulture. And from a business perspective, I think COVID has taught us that that we can be brave, we can risk, and that we shouldn't be so fearful, in maintaining what we have. We have to dream big, make important decisions, because there's nothing that can stop good dreams, and there's plenty of possibilities out there in the world, if you believe.
I agree with you on that. Pepe Raventós, thank you so much for joining us today. All the best for the rest of 2021, and we'll speak soon. Hopefully we'll see you in Toronto for a glass of wine once things open up again.
Definitely. I miss a lot our times in North America, and we think with Susana, we will find a way to spend at least a third of our time in North America and the rest here in the farm. So you will have to suffer my company sooner than you think, Jamie.
I will look forward to that, Pepe. Thank you so much for your time today. Take care.
Ciao. Thank you very much.